Hello and welcome to a very topical Saturday morning retro. So the game we're going to play is Battletoads in Battlemaniacs for the SNES, and I know what you're thinking, it's not the usual Saturday morning theme, but you're wrong, because there was actually a Saturday morning cartoon style pilot for the Battletoads, which did actually air, but as you can imagine nothing more came from it. So I figured, as Shovel Knight has given us the return of the Battletoads, at least on the Xbox One anyway, I figured it would be a good opportunity for us to get in touch with our inner Toad. So let's load up this game, made by Rare of course. Now the Battletoads series is known for being a little bit difficult, and that's an understatement, but if I remember correctly, the SNES version is just a little bit easier. It is kind of like a remake of the NES game, just a little bit more colourful and a bit more better to look at, as you can already see. And already the types of enemies we're fighting is a lot more different, and the graphics are actually really good. I mean, this isn't too late into the SNES's lifespan. But you've got some nice, colourful, big sprites, and that's always really nice to see. So I'm just going to go through. Lots of enemies to fight, lots of pigs. So this is a two-player game. Unfortunately, it's just me on my lonesome at the moment, so I get stuck with Pimple. I'm just going to watch out for these weird, skeleton-y lizard things. Shields, very Jason and the Argonauts. Oh, the floor's giving away. Now the original NES game is relatively colourful, and for a NES game it does look pretty good. But as you can probably see by now, the graphics in this trounce the NES version very easily. Let's get rid of this pig guy. So this is a pretty much very standard brawler, although there are a few areas of the game that are a little bit different. So we'll just see how far we get through this little playthrough. Let's punch this guy in the head. Even the moves are very comical, the little kind of kicks there. It's almost as if I'm kicking him in the nuts. There we go. This guy's a little difficult to kill. So you do that combo attack, and then the last hit is a very deadly hammer to the face, which is always the Battletoads trademark. Seem to be avoiding some magma. Nice little bit of detail, the lava in the background. Oh, be careful, it's going to be very difficult, don't want to fall over again. Oh, and I fall in the lava. I'm already down to no lives from the first level. This game really takes no prisoners at times. So, let's see if I can at least get to the next level before I die. Enemies take quite a lot of hits in this. So if you're dealing with more than one or two enemies, it gets a bit hairy. So more skeletons. Music is pretty cool. Easy on the ears with that very typical SNES sampled guitar sound that you could hear. Oh, I've been flattened. So a very cartoony style game, works really well. You can see that they really wanted to turn Battletoads into something more than a game. There were cartoons. Well, one cartoon, but there are also a small-lived toy line which you can find on eBay somewhere, and eventually they would end up, the moulds for making those little toys would later be used to create some Chinese knockoff toys as well, which are also out there somewhere. Get here. Let's get rid of this guy. You see, the enemies do take a lot of hits. Should be it. So the landscape's changing quite a lot, and I'm probably going to die in a minute. Ouch, that's me dead. See, and already I'm dead. And just to add insult into injury, your boss is giving you some grief for dying there. Right, let's try this again. So you appear to be entering some sort of virtual world, hence the little wireframe entrance of my character. So this game is very much a kind of best of from the Nintendo NES version. There are a few levels there taken directly from that version, although spruced up a little. There's a cavern section where you're abseiling down a very tight cavern and bouncing off the walls and avoiding enemies. There's also the infamous jet cycle area, which is ridiculously difficult. It's more of a test of memorization than actual reflexes, which is very frustrating. You have to kind of run through this jet cycle level and dodge barriers and jump over gaps, and it's not very pleasant even in this version. It's a little bit more bearable in this version, but it's still pretty difficult. Alright. Lots of pigs in this level. Pigs and skeletons. I sense a theme here. Not sure what pigs have against toads, but there you go. Right. Let's carry on. Try and rush through this as quickly as we can so we can see something a little bit different. I do love these little kicks. The enemies really do take a lot of hits, and he's out of the count. Let's avoid all this magma. Ow, that hurt. Let's make a step carefully. Let's jump over here. There you go, and he's gone. Very difficult to avoid that little bridge collapsing. Oh, that hurt. That wasn't very fair at all. He just knocked me straight off into the lava. Not very pleasant at all. Oh, and I nearly died there as well. As you can see, it's not just being hit you've got to worry about, it's being knocked off the environment itself, which is probably not the most fairest of games. So there was actually a arcade version released as well, which was a bit more to look at, a bit gory actually. There was actually blood in the game, which was quite unusual for an admittedly very child-friendly game, to be fair, cartoon violence aside. Let's get rid of some of these pigs. So this game was released at a time where Rare were a Nintendo licensed developer. They weren't the darlings of Nintendo that would eventually become a second party for a short while during the N64 days, but they were one of the very few Western developers to have a NES development kit in the beginning. So Nintendo obviously saw something very special, and their NES and SNES days, there was a mix of good and not so good games out there. Battletoads, depending on how you feel about the difficulty, probably not the greatest game out there, to be honest. It has some really good ideas, but the problem is with the Battletoads games is they tend to rely on some very unfair difficulty, and that sort of, it doesn't really help the fact at all. Otherwise it would be a really good game, just because there's some very clever things that do take place. I'm being ganged up on by 3 pigs here. It's not really fair at all. Yeah, so back in the NES days, where we're known for doing a lot of LJN's games. They did a few WWF games back in the day for the NES, amongst a few other things. But it was only really the SNES where they really started to do bigger things, like create Killer Instinct and of course Donkey Kong Country. And that's when things really skyrocketed, really. And while the company is known more for their work with Microsoft and things like Kinect and avatars, I think their best days have passed, but I still think that given a chance they could be doing some very great things. And you know, granted they're not making games for Nintendo anymore, but I still want to see a company like Rare create something great. I mean, the Banjo-Kazooie on the Xbox 360 was actually a pretty decent game. Nuts and Bolts was a very underrated game that was kind of missed, mainly because it wasn't quite the same platforming style as the N64 games. But there was, again, very clever ideas in that game. I should probably concentrate on these fiery balls. Oh, see, and I'm dead again. Very unfair game. So I'm going to leave it at that one. Thank you very much for watching this video. We hope you enjoy. If you subscribe to the Nintendo Life YouTube channel, you can see more videos like this and plenty more besides. Or you can visit www.nintendolife.com for the latest and greatest in Nintendo video gaming news, reviews, previews and all that jazz. So until next time, thank you for watching and happy gaming!